At one time or another, we have all asked ourselves, what is that girl doing? Why does she always make twice as much money as I do? Is there something that I could be doing different? You know who I'm talking about. She's in every club. You see her counting well over $500 or $1,000, and the shift isn't even close to being over yet. How does she do that? Even worse, she seems to never have a bad night. Why is that? Well, the answer is because she is in the super stripper zone. Before we teach you anything about personality types, the automatic yes, and simple tips and tricks, we need to teach you the most important lesson of all, how to get into the super stripper zone. You can have all the tools, all the skills, and all the know-how, but if you aren't truly focused in the zone and applying those skills properly, then nothing we can teach you will work. Most of your coworkers are not in the super stripper zone. I would say that even 90% of your coworkers have no clue what they're doing or why they do it. And if you are new to dancing, that may be you, but don't feel bad because all of this is about to change. I don't want to dwell on the negatives, so let's just keep this part short. If you are not operating in the super stripper zone, you will feel like nothing you try works. Have you ever been working on a busy night where you look around and it seems like everyone else is making money and you're not? Customer comments start to bother you, and little issues that normally wouldn't bother you seem like huge problems. You may even start thinking, am I in the twilight zone? What is wrong with me? Maybe you've even been a member of Dancer Wealth for a while and you are watching this video again for the umpteenth time like we suggest because you couldn't get a hot button to work. Well, even though I've had nights like this where I sit back, I go through my mental list, I apply all the hot buttons, and I just can't seem to close that big sale. And you know what? I get really frustrated. Well, it's not the hot buttons. I know those work because I've used them before over and over again. I know it's not my appearance because I look great. What's missing on nights like that is my personal super stripper zone. And instead of being in the zone, I'm emotionally frustrated. As soon as I begin to feel that emotion of frustration, that is my signal that I am not in the zone. And this usually happens to me on nights that I didn't want to go in, but I did anyway, and I really wasn't in the mood. Have you ever done that or felt that way? I'm sure you have. And you know what? Your mood is everything. Your mood tells you whether or not you're in the zone or not. The nights that I don't have a super stripper night, I attribute to me not being in the super stripper zone. And if I get lazy and I resort back to that lame wanna dance method, my results and my take-home pay aren't going to be any better than a newbie who's using that same awful wanna dance method. So luckily, I've learned over the years to catch myself when I feel that emotion of frustration. And I know how to get back into the super stripper zone if I do have that momentary lapse. So now that we know what is not the super stripper zone, let's figure out what is. I'm pretty sure you have been in the zone before. Think back to the last awesome night that you had. It probably seemed like you didn't have to work very hard, and guys just seemed to line up for dances, and you didn't have enough time to get to all of them. You may have attributed this to not enough girls working or a good dancer to customer ratio, which can be the case sometimes, but I'm also sure you've had a night or two when everyone else is complaining, but you are still selling plenty of dances. Well, it's not the crowd, it's you. You are in the zone, and they are not. So first, let's define how you feel when you're in the zone. You feel undefeatable. Whether it was the song on the radio that you heard or something you ate or drank or someone that you spent time around, a book you read, a class that you went to, whatever it was, you were on. Nothing that anyone could say to you or do could affect your good mood and great attitude. Any problems that may have arisen when you're in this zone is no big deal because you can totally handle it. Isn't that a great way to feel? Isn't it a great way to be? Did you ever think about how you got into that mood? If not, think about it right now. When you're in a good mood, how do you get there? Does it only happen for you on some nights or around certain people? Wouldn't it be awesome if you could make it happen more often or every time you work? Don't you wish it could be like that all of the time? Well, you can, and that's what this video is about. Creating a ritual that will get you into the super stripper zone on demand whenever you need it. And it's not luck, it's planning, executing, and maintaining. Now, those words sound like they belong in a corporate boardroom somewhere, right? Not in a strip club. Well, after all, the reason some of us are in this business is that stripping is a lot more fun and profitable with the right group of customers than an office or a retail job. But not to burst your bubble, working at a strip club is still work, and making large profits consistently every night requires you to bring your professional A game to work every time. But don't worry, this is still going to be fun. Let's start by identifying where you want to end up. What does your super stripper zone feel like, and how do you get there at the right time, which is during those magic hours after you're all glammed up and ready to engage your clientele? As a member of Dancer Wealth, we will help you determine exactly what your super stripper zone feels like and exactly how to find it. If you've ever watched a boxing match or a baseball game, you may have noticed that before a boxer comes out of the ring or the player comes out of the dugout onto the baseball field, the people who run the show do something really smart. They play music that helps the athletes get into their zone. Well, why do they do that? Well, the long answer is hypnosis, meditation, alpha brainwaves, and neurolinguistic programming. The short answer is just that it works. And in Dancer Wealth, we just teach you what works and how to get results using motivational speeches and music from your role model. By the way, do you have someone that you can turn to after a bad night that always seems to say the right thing to get you out of your rut? In the past, you may have relied on your mom or your sister or other family member. However, in this case, it will work better if your super stripper role model is someone who's already in the industry. And if you already have a role model at your club, awesome. I wish I had one when I got started. If you don't have one, let me be your role model for now. I've been doing this business for almost 10 years, and I know every emotion you are experiencing and how to deal with it productively. One of the things that gets me into my zone is listening to motivational podcasts. I've listened to them over the years. My favorites include Tony Robbins, Stephen Covey, and Robert Kiyosaki, but there was never one geared just for strippers. Until now. Check out the Strip and Grow Rich podcast on iTunes. The first Super Stripper Zone series that we released was entitled Super Stripper Summer Secrets. We suggest that you go download it and listen to it in the car on the way to work. It will frame the most important skills to work on first in a week-by-week format. Then when you arrive at work, you're ready to hit the floor in the zone. And if you like what you hear on the podcast for free, you're going to love what we have to offer in Dancer Wealth. All right, so you got yourself in the super stripper zone. Just keep it up, right? Sounds easy. But in reality, this is the hardest part of the equation. With all the things that could go wrong and will go wrong, it's easy to get derailed. How do you keep your focus when you're in the club? In Dancer Wealth, we explain all of these strategies and more, including keeping your eyes on the prize, prioritize, minimize, think win-win, teamwork, and the most effective of all is sharpening your pencil. What do you do when the club is slow, or you don't have a client, or it's just too early for the crowd to be there? How do you use this time? Do you sit in the locker room or at the bar? Who do you surround yourself with during these times? There are only so many magic hours in a shift, and in Dancer Wealth, we will teach you exactly what you can be doing during your downtime to maximize your sales once the crowd comes in. The topic we are examining this month as part of our Maintaining the Super Stripper Zone series is how to control your emotions if you're having a bad night during this roller coaster recession. So what are you waiting for? Go to www.dancerwealth.com and get started right now for just $5.99 and make more money tonight.